speaking of like streaming and going live, right? Live service games, Nedley. That's your topic of the day.
You're almost
What do you
better
got
than
for us?
Brunstad. Holy shit, dude.
I'm doing it in the spirit of Brunstad. I will never replace Brunstad. He is the king of segues, but I am doing it in the spirit. Brunstad,
Okay.
I hope you're watching this, homie.
I hope you're
I
feeling
hope you're
the
here.
love. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about, and this kind of goes to my point with the fucking stupid goddamn peripherals. Live service games have become the most since the dawn of the internet. The live service game has always been a mythical beast that everybody wants to do. And like, is it, I guess, like, we have games like Destiny, we have The Division, we have old school MMOs like WoW and Final Fantasy 14. We have Phantasy Star Online. We have, which I would say is probably not the greatest example of it, especially PSO2. But regardless, I think PSO1 is one of the first progenitors of this. Like, have we reached a saturation point with these games? Because like you have the games like Outriders coming out now, and other games that are trying to build themselves or not build themselves anymore after the Anthem debacle of them canceling that and now pivoting Dragon Age 4 into not having live service shit. Like, have we reached a saturation point? And I like having Eddie for sure on this because I mean he plays a lot of fucking Destiny.
Yep. I was gonna say,
have we reached an oversaturation point in the live service market?
I think like from my perspective, so I'm a Destiny player, but I also play like MMOs like WoW and a little bit of Final Fantasy 14. Even though Shoner will say I haven't played in like a while, which would be true. But I like a saturation. I mean, I think that's a fair point. The way my schedule breaks out, it's like I can only focus my energies on one game so much like in a week, right? On the thing about Destiny and I think we touched on this before. The thing about Destiny is that I think for Destiny 2, they should have done just Destiny and then expansion, like an actual living game. Yes. And as we talked about, businesses don't want to do that because they want to get you to buy that $60, new IP, whatever, new title, the next thing. So I don't know. I think there's so many like live games out there. I think what is more saturated than anything is like all the promises of a live service game that will live forever. I think I think that's what where companies are kind of going wrong is they keep promising all these things, and then as we've seen time and time again, dude, even with Division 2, like they keep promising, and then by the time it actually comes out, half their player base, maybe more than that, is already moved on to the next whatever game it is, So I think that's a fair point that there is a saturation. But I think the key here for me is that there's a saturation, but once someone chooses their game that they choose to play all the time, and for me that's Destiny, it's always going to be that base game that I'm going to play at least like 3 or 4 times a week, regardless of how much WoW or Final Fantasy or Among Us or whatever other game you can name. Warzone. Like, I think that's the game that will always be like my base game that I'll go back to, Yeah. So I think there is a saturation, but I think once people choose their base game, that's where those games are viable.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there are too many, and I think there's too many promises being made by companies that this is gonna come, this service is gonna come, PvP is coming next year, crossplay is coming next year, and then by the time it comes out, no one's freaking playing it, or like 1 or 2 people are playing it. So yeah,
I think it's the trend right now, right? We've seen it with sandbox games, right? Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, created this whole genre of sandbox games, and you had Rockstar came out with that one where you're in the mall fighting zombies. I can't remember the name of it is right now.
Dead Rising.
Well, no, it wasn't zombies. There was one that they did that was just in a mall or whatever, where you're like a gang or something like that. There was just a bunch of them, right? Saints Row came out with the sandbox game. You had Red Dead Redemption, one of the recent ones, right? You have Bully was another great one. Just all these games that tried to jump on the sandbox market, and it created this niche for a while, right? And I think we're seeing that right now. It's like the looter shooters, the live action stuff like that. It really plays to especially streamers.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to see that. And so I think it's just a market ploy, not a ploy. It's just a market thing right now that everyone's on. And until that next style comes out, right? Because we've seen it with the MMOs, right? We've seen WoW come out, Final Fantasy 11 come out, and then there was like 500 other MMOs that came out. And how many of them actually survived, right? Not very many of them. So like in the sandbox game, Grand Theft Auto is the one that's actually surviving the most. In the live action right now, Destiny 2 is holding the market share for when it comes to a game that's surviving everyone's fill for live action or the live service.
And I guess battle royales would kind of come into this too, because a lot of those do live and die by their how they support the game, post launch, right? Like Warzone keeps adding in new maps and shit like that. You have Apex, which is it just me, or has there been like a recent surge in Apex?
There's been a surge for sure. I've seen a lot of my friends go back to it and play it. I think they're doing really well with how they develop their characters in terms of the new like play styles that you can do and the new skills. Although I think they just blew up like one of the maps too, so I think that's what's keeping it fresh as well. I think they changed Kings Canyon, which is like the main map that's been around for like ever, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for sure there's a surge in Apex. I've seen a lot more people playing it. Warzone is kind of getting good again, I guess, in terms of I don't know. Well, yeah, there was a point where the DMR zone was really bad, and it's kind of bounced back up. That was the original
topic of the podcast.
Full circle, dude.
Right.
But
shit.
I did play the other day, and I ran into like 4 hackers in my like couple hour session. So they still haven't fixed that. Live service, they can fix a freaking vehicle glitch or a cutscene that keeps playing every time you load up the game, but
you can't fix anything else.
Can't fix anything else. So
and like so what would it so at this point, like you have so the Outriders demo is out, right? And everybody's I still haven't. I said I would. I still haven't.
Dude,
but people have been playing it like so what are the hallmark? So let's go back to the front. Eddie, why do you continue to play Destiny to this day? What about Destiny as a live service game grabs you?
I think what keeps it fresh for me is me playing with my buddies, doing the raids, doing the weekly missions, trying to just get higher light level gear, ultimately the grind. That's pretty much what kind of keeps me there. They did introduce some new weapons for the season, so there's always chasing those. They bring back old weapons, which is also another another way to grab my attention. So that's what kind of brings me back for a base game like Destiny.
And Shoner, you still play what? So which MMO are you on now? I can't remember.
14.
Okay,
it's the only one I play.
So why do you keep subscribing, which is a weird concept now to talk about, right? It's like an actual subscription based thing. Why do you keep coming back to 14 and keep paying for that every month?
Well, I think the reason why you see MMOs do the subscription base is because they don't do the season passes or the battle passes or whatever you want to call it. So they don't have a way to make money on the side. So battle passes can be seen as the exact same thing, right, as a monthly subscription. The reason why we pay for the monthly subscription is because they're always doing content releases. They're always doing little upgrades, little changes, whether it's new dungeons, new missions, whatever. I like Final Fantasy 14 just because it's a skill-based game where you actually have to know how to use your roles. You have to know how your character works. You can't just pick a character up and be good at it. You actually have to learn how to use it with the team, with the party during the raid, right? Which bosses are good with that person, that character, that ability versus others. But I've always been a fan of MMOs. I just love that world concept of being able to play with people everywhere, anywhere, anytime. And then, of course, just like Eddie said with the Destiny, right? Having your friends doing that multiplayer content that brings everybody together where you actually have to be team oriented and actually have those conversations versus just like, oh, click, 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 click. I'm just looking at my screen doing nothing of importance, right? Like for me, gaming is always about being a community.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
I think the difference between that and like a battle royale is like, you can only go so far playing a battle royale before you get like tired of it, right? It's like doing the same rounds over and over again. Whereas with a game like Destiny or any MMO, it's like you can do different quests or different, like, there's just different things to do, you know? It's
there's
not
more
always
into it.
Yeah, there's not just always you going into a round and then getting killed super fast, or, you know, getting the top 5 super fast and then running it back again, you know? Like,
yeah.
And then even when you win, it's like, it's satisfying, but it's also like, okay, what is it? In Warzone, there's not really like a reward. I don't get an exotic weapon. Yeah. I don't get anything that sets me apart from anyone else. Maybe a cool emblem, maybe, you know, cool gun camo. But in Destiny, it's like, okay, you do a high level reward, you get the top place, and you get a really cool, you know, gun or really cool.
Do it 85 times and never get the shit you're going for.
That's my experience of Destiny, guys.
Well, that's Joey's right now too. He's trying to get this one weapon. He's done it like 80 something times. And he can't get the one. And Eddie's gotten it 3 times. And Eddie's gotten it 3 times already.
So what I'm hearing, right, is like, Eddie, you have the so both of you had the same thing. You have the social aspect of it, right? Your friends are playing it, and you're all in this together. And I would say
my friends don't play it,
like Eddie. I would say, or me, I guess, because I don't play either. Pay for my subscription, then I'll play. How about that? Like, oh yeah, exactly.
It's free to play. It's free to play up to level 60.
Oh, Shoner. Don't let him suck you in.
No, I won't. I'm not.
No, Final Fantasy 14 is great. It's actually really good as an MMO. I like the more traditional grind, like the pain more.
I like the pain. I'm a masochist like in the sense.
More. It just reminds me of when I was a kid, you know? Like, I didn't have an MMO where it was like, oh, you can easily do this or easily travel somewhere, or, you know, like you really had to run it and all that. It's just a nostalgia thing for me, honestly, for a while.
Which I get. Yeah. So there's the social aspect that goes along with it, and like there's that carrot at the end of the hook, right? So like, let's look at Outriders, for example. Eddie, you said that I should be playing this. Are you drawn to it all, or no? Do you think gut check feeling, is it going to be Destiny 3? So in pejorative terms, right? Is it going to be Destiny 3 or is it going to be Anthem?
No. I think it's not going to be either.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be either, but the way it feels, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I play it, it just reminds me of the first, like, that fun time of Anthem, where I was like flying around and, you know, killing things, and like it felt really good. I felt like Iron Man. I was invincible. But the concern for me is that it that's the thing, is that it feels a lot like Anthem.
But I think it's gonna be short lived. I think that's the concern. Life.
The story
player.
Yeah, when I played the demo, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember the name of the characters, dude. I don't even remember the name of the store, like any of the main enemies or anything. Like, I can't tell. If you asked me who the main enemy was, I couldn't tell you. We killed the boss in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
you know. So do I see it having long longevity? I think it'll be one of those games that kind of flashes in the pan. And the reason why I say that is because I played Division 2. I was really into it for 30 minutes. Then I stopped. I was really into Anthem. And then, then the game was broken. And then
it got to the end. And you went, okay, now what?
Right. Like, and then on top of that, the way they do the level tier. So there's like a World 1 tier, World 2 tier. Like, that leveling
the game gets harder.
Very Anthem-esque. It's like, okay, Grandmaster 1, Grandmaster 2. It's very Anthem-esque. And I don't know how I feel about all of that. I really don't. I think the reason why I say you should try it, Nedley, is because it's something fresh, at least for now. You can see all the elements of where they pulled all these different games together, which I think is a very interesting concept. And number 3, I mean, it's new IPs. You know, you got to just give it a demo try and see what you think about it. But
I have it downloaded. I keep wanting to get into it, and it's cool that they bring your progress over too, which is something you don't see very often.
Right, and that's not something you see often in demos here. Right. So I would say, have I pre-ordered it? I'm going to be honest with you. No, I haven't, because I want to let it come out. I want to see how it plays out.
The roadmap.
Yeah, and the roadmap, and if they develop like the maps and all that stuff, and there's just so much that goes into it for me.
Yeah.
To put that $60 in. Yeah. So, but
I think it's gonna be that it's not fair to compare it to Destiny. You need to compare it to
I was gonna make that point. It's not fair.
To Borderlands. You have to compare it to Borderlands because that's what it is. It's a Borderlands style game, not Destiny.
Okay. That's fair. There's something to be said about that. And like, I don't know, like live service games, I find. Am I weird in saying that if I don't play them, I feel bad because I'm not playing them?
Because everyone else is playing it, so you're like, why do I not love it as much as everyone else, right? I feel you there, man.
Nothing to do with love. It's I have other gaming experiences that I want to do, but yeah, I always feel like Destiny 2. Like I've started playing again. I played 1,200 hours of Destiny 1. I've played probably in total between Steam and Xbox probably about 600 hours of Destiny 2. I got away from it. I feel like I got away, and now I'm being sucked back in again. Like, and it's just for no other reason other than like, man, that actually just sounds like a good mindless time. The problem is now is I don't have any more friends that actually play it now. I guess I have Eddie now.
You haven't hit me up on Steam yet.
If he'll let me play him, you're gonna have to send me that again because I was on my phone when you sent that originally, and I wasn't gonna do that. Like I don't know. Like I always feel bad if I'm not playing them, but I think that might just I think that's not just a me thing. Like if I wanted to go and play Trails of Cold Steel, right? Like, and then I leave my Destiny character sitting by the wayside. I think I always feel mildly terrible about that. It's kind of what happened with WoW too, which is kind of why I was really glad to not get back in the WoW addiction again. I
feel the same way. I feel the same way with Final Fantasy, bro, because I really enjoyed like playing it so far.
DMing you saying, "Hey, I want to play Final Fantasy."
It's not that. He's actually he doesn't hit me up as much. Like he does hit me up, but not as much as some other people actually. But
I just like to poke fun at him. That's all I do.
Exactly. But like for me, Final Fantasy 14, I feel bad because like it is a good MMO for what an MMO is. You know, like it's an amazing MMO. It's just that for some reason I'm just more drawn to WoW. I don't know why. I can't explain it. It's just one of those things where it's like just a taste thing. But I definitely feel you on like I think it's a sense of maybe like a little bit of fear of missing out, like FOMO.
Yeah.
It's like oh. Everybody's having like this great time. I just saw a tweet about this guy that got a sick ass, piece of gear or whatever, and it's like I want to experience that,
And I'm playing my 100-hour JRPG by myself, like a cool guy. Is that what cool guys do? I'm not sure, but yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to see.
We're not cool guys still.
Oh, fuck, true.
Eddie is with the Pokemon.
I'm not.
I just wanted to see if like we're feeling that oversaturation. If I'm the only one feeling the oversaturation in live service games, because I know for like I think that's definitely the case. Just because you're not seeing anything stick.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one feeling it, man. I mean, like I said with Outriders, dude, or I'm just gonna let it come out and see how it really plays out.
Yep.
Because I think they're trying to create that new live service type of thing too, or at least do better than most other games.